my mum, she said that it took her a long time not to be angry against that woman, like years.
Jeez, there must have been huge.
She was so angry with this woman because if she had actually just taken the time not if she had taken the time to go stay at home. Welcome to Spaghetti Junction.
Oh, that was unexpected.
Gotta keep things fresh from the cradle. My name is Gareth. If you didn't know that by now, you haven't been listening. What is your name?
I'm Bruce, and everybody knows my name.
That is correct, Bruce. For the wrong reasons.
Thank you very much. We were just saying any publicity, there's no such thing as bad publicity.
Exactly.
There we go.
And we try and talk about things. We just don't know where they're going to go. Bad publicity, Bruce, is good publicity?
You know what? I don't know, man.
Well, I'm asking, it's poised towards a good question here. In the week surrounding this kind of podcasting time, 6 Dr. Seuss books will not be published again for racist images. So Dr. Seuss, I would imagine most people were brought up, not most, I apologize. A large portion of us were probably brought up on Dr. Seuss.
Absolutely.
The Cat in the Hat, Horton Hears a Who.
Wacky Wednesday was one of my books.
No, I haven't watched that. I watched that one. I haven't read that one.
Wacky Wednesday. And there was also, I think, Freaky Friday, unless that was a movie.
With Dr. Seuss.
Yeah.
Freaky Friday is a movie. But it's possible with Dr. Seuss.
Yeah,
you never
that's
know.
the thing. Yeah, so it might have, but I definitely remember I had Wacky Wednesday.
Green eggs.
Green eggs and ham.
Green eggs and ham,
apparently, yeah. I didn't have too many. I think I only really had the one.
Well, they were fun.
The Cat in the Hat is obviously the...
Cat in the Hat was the big one.
Yeah.
Yes, the Cat in the Hat. That was probably the big one out. So it's 6 Dr. Seuss books, including... and to think that... Okay, now these I've never really heard of, I'll be honest, but possibly I just wasn't brought up on these ones. And to think that I saw it on Mulberry Street is one. If I ran a zoo...
Yeah, the zoo one
is
that I heard was mentioned about.
Yeah.
There were certain issues.
Mick Elliott's pool. Sorry, Mick Elliott's pool. On Beyond Zebra. Scrambled Egg Super and the Cat's Quizzer. That doesn't sound healthy.
Yeah,
maybe that was pulled.
Those definitely sound like
they sound bad.
That cancel culture would just go after with a torch and a pitchfork.
Scrambled Egg Super. That does sound racist.
That sounds.
I mean,
that sounds very.
Maybe the poached eggs were like, hey, how about us poached eggs, you silly sack of toast? Maybe that was the problem.
Yeah. So why were these things cancelled? So because of potential, supposedly racist.
Yeah, the publishing company. Yes, that's right. I said the publishing company.
I love how you own it. Yes, you own it like an absolute boss. I love
There's one publishing company. That means there's 3 publishing companies.
Wow.
You see, that was so popular. They had 3 publishing companies.
Dr. Seuss got cancelled 3 times. The power of woke. Welcome to the world.
I actually had to look up woke, what it meant. And I still can't remember what it means. I'm old.
It's basically for our boomer listeners.
Just do it for me. It's fine.
I think it's this sort of understanding and awareness of particular things within our culture in the world at the moment, with especially stuff like stuff surrounding LGBTQ, cancel culture is one of them, social justice, anything like that. The whole thing of racism, Black Lives Matter, all of that kind of thing.
That's woke.
It's kind of like the woke culture is people, is like understanding and having an awareness of all of those factors of life.
Okay. So it doesn't like WOKE has like a, what the W means, it's just called woke.
It might be shortened from I've woken up.
Oh, okay, yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense to me.
and woken up to an awareness. I think that's what it means, but please don't quote me on that. If you can find it there in real time.
I'll believe you, Bruce. You sound more woke than me.
Oh, please don't. If you can call me a lot of things, and many people have.
Well, I'm sure,
Good,
yes.
both good and
Sometimes good and sometimes
bad.
exactly.
Please don't rope me in with woke culture.
Okay, well, then I won't. So these books, okay, so the Dr. Seuss Enterprises, they own the rights basically to Dr. Seuss's books, and
Right.
maybe they knew him. Actually, you would think that they would have known Dr. Seuss.
I would.
He would have
liked
had
to
friends.
known-
I mean,
would have liked to have
if I
known
wrote
Dr.
books
Seuss.
like that, I would have a lot of friends.
I gotta be honest. If I knew Dr. Seuss, I'd ask him what drugs he was on and if he could share them, because when his writing,
He's a genius.
he's a genius.
I would just go in there and ask for if there actually is a thing, if there are actually green eggs out there. Because I was fascinated, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, really? I was like, there's green eggs in ham. I'm not joking. They said that these books portray people in ways that are hurtful and wrong. So this actually came from them. Possibly there were people who brought it up and ruffled feathers, but this is actually coming from the Dr. Seuss's enterprises themselves.
I mean, how long have these books been in publication?
Oh, wow. I would have to look that up.
And people's
In fact, he was actually born March the 2nd, 1904. So we're looking, and he died in 91. So we're looking a few centuries. No, centuries is long. Decades.
You think people's hurt feelings are a little bit slow on the uptake? Eh? Just like,
Yeah.
okay, maybe, but I don't get it. Anyway,
So there was a book, and to think that I saw it on Mulberry Street. An Asian person is portrayed wearing a conical hat, holding chopsticks and eating from a bowl. Okay. So fair
okay.
enough. I mean, I'm not. Yeah, this is kind of where we have to tread carefully. But so I'm watching you, Bruce, not me. I'm okay.
Do we have to tread carefully? Because
We're kind of, if we want to keep going well in these podcasts, and this doesn't get yanked one day, like, guys, we're gonna. You guys made jokes about Dr. Seuss's books. No,
Yeah,
look, you are actually welcome to say stuff. I mean, I guess, but
because we already know that YouTube doesn't want us to be happy.
well, no, true. But I hope that people will want us to be happy in our 100th episodes and making a bit of coinage out of this.
That's true. Yes.
Out of the beauty of our other listeners. Other listeners. What the hell am I saying, Bruce?
I don't know, dude.
Good. Neither do I. If I Ran the Zoo includes a drawing of two barefoot African men wearing what appears to be grass skirts with their hair tied above their heads.
Okay, but in what context? It's one thing to have a picture, but what's the context of the picture that would possibly?
Maybe that they were at the zoo and not in wildlife. I'm just thinking as if it's called If I Ran the Zoo. It's not If I Went on a Safari. I don't know, Bruce. Okay, I'm just thumb sucking. Okay.
Okay. Cool.
There was one that was very interesting. This is where you talk, Bruce, when I'm trying to find this stupid thing here.
If you haven't commented, liked or subshared, subshared.
You're getting worse than me.
If you haven't liked, comment, subscribed, or shared, or hit the notification bell on this podcast, please do so now.
That's very good, Bruce. Thank you for doing that. Okay, this one's interesting. In the 2007 book, okay, so they were actually released. Possibly he wrote them and then they were released over time.
Okay.
Oh no, this is, sorry, I apologize. Somebody wrote a book about a book. For real. Someone took a whole book.
To write something about another book.
Baba the Elephant. No, sorry. Bruce, I don't know what's going on right now. I'm going to give up soon. No, I won't. Anyways, it was an author and an educator who had this issue with the book called Baba the Elephant.
So they decided to write an entire book.
Well, I think I actually misread it.
Okay.
No,
you didn't.
I didn't, Bruce.
Did someone?
He wrote a book in 2007 called "Should We Burn Baba?" Okay, now that's wrong. You don't burn an elephant.
Should we burn
Baba the Elephant? That's sick.
The last time we heard about book burning, it was in around the 1940s, and there was one guy that was really into that, and that didn't end well.
Well, he wants to burn.
So
I hear what you're going.
I tend to get very worried when people start calling for burning books.
Well, he doesn't want to burn them. He wants to burn the elephant. You sick bastard. So he contended that the Bob the Elephant books were celebrations of colonialism because of how the title character leaves the jungle, wait for it, and later returns to civilize his fellow animals. You have got too f***ing much time on your head.
Your hands.
And that too, Bruce. I'm angry.
So
who takes their time to look intensely on a children's book about an elephant who's now colonizing things? That's not a word. I apologize.
I think
wow.
I think someone's feelings got very hurt, and they
Wow.
decided to write a book about how hurt their feelings were.
But and critics also have faulted Curious George books
Curious George, the
Curious-
curious little monkey, and the man in the yellow hat. Why?
for the premise of a white man bringing home a monkey from Africa.
Oh my word.
What the?
Okay, none of us, when we were watching that, none of us thought that. None of this mattered back then.
I watched the cartoon that
So did I.
the latest one, which was years ago. The voice was Will Ferrell, was the voice of the white man in the yellow jacket.
The man in the yellow hat. That's what he was called. That was his character.
Yes.
The man in the yellow hat.
And that was Will
he
Ferrell voicing it.
And you see, no one said he was a white guy.
Oh. Well, this is a white man bringing home a monkey from Africa.
Jeez. Man.
On that note, you know what? That is called the rant of the beginning of the episode. We don't normally go this route, but it's making news.
It is.
So I thought, you know what? We should just look at it and go. So some of them, fair enough, might have a point, and people had to be more aware now of race and sexualities and so forth. But when you're going down to Curious George,
Yeah, I think it's...
or
I
an
think-
elephant coming back to colonize, it's an elephant. I don't think he sat down and went, I'm going to colonize my animal friends.
Yeah, no. I don't
And
think
interesting enough, 1.2 million Dr. Seuss books sold. Books, not money made. 1.2 million Dr. Seuss books sold after the estate announced it was pulling 6 titles. 1.2 million.
I think the estate went, we need more money. Let's get the books banned and cancelled.
Exactly.
Reverse psychology, people
Yes.
will buy it. It's like an artist dying, and then their work suddenly becomes incredibly popular, but they're not around to enjoy the spoils. So poor old Dr. Seuss, his estate earns the money, but he doesn't.
Yeah. That actually reminds me of something that happened in Kenya when I was there.
Do tell.
Kenya banned the movie The Wolf of Wall Street with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Why?
It was not allowed to because...
I didn't know about this.
Have you watched it?
Of course I have.
Oh, it is... Dude, if you want to watch...
Great movie.
There probably isn't anything... Okay, I'm sure there is, but not many movies that come close to that. It's that debauched movie.
It is.
It's good. I mean, I watched it. I would say people don't... yeah.
I'm trying to make my way through the book at the moment.
Oh, yeah, I heard about the book. I don't know about the book.
I had to give the movie a second chance because it bored me because I was more... Have you seen a movie? You've seen a movie called Boiler Room, right?
Yes, very good.
Okay.
Great movie.
I was kind of hoping that Wolf of Wall Street would go more into the trading side of things than the debauchery.
No, it's all
But-
about the man. It's
Yes.
not about the trading.
So I had to wait about a year and then go, okay, cool. Let me watch Wolf of Wall Street again, and it's like with fresh eyes.
It's all about
and-
him.
and I enjoyed it. I really did.
Yeah. So,
So,
just because it's quite a debauched movie.
oh, totally.
So people who don't like debauchness don't watch The Wolf of Wall Street. So in Kenya, they have random things, or not random things. They seem to have. I don't know how many times they've done it, but as to ban a movie or a book or a music album.
Yeah.
But they banned Wolf of Wall Street, and the only reason why I went around the area where I was, to to find a what do they call a bootleg version of it because it was banned.
Yeah, it's like, why is it
up to that
banned?
point, I was like, Wolf of Wall Street's. I'll watch it sometime. But because it got banned in the whole country,
You're like, it makes you want.
their copies were going out of fashion.
Yeah.
I mean, they were reasonably cheap, but I mean, the guys who were putting them out, you know,
making a mint on
they made a mint out of it
Exactly.
because it was banned. And look, it's bad, but so I say well done to the qualities of, you know, no, what's the word I'm looking for? The good, how Kenya, you know, has these great values to block a movie that's got, but I think in any country you can have one values, but then the other values are completely different. I don't know about that in Kenya. What I'm trying to say is it was banned in Kenya. Only reason why I watched it was because of that, and
And you still had a ton of people watching it because
Exactly.
it becomes more popular.
so as you say, there is no bad. There actually is bad publicity, but in general, yeah.
Just my landlord's very into his vinyl records and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he's gotten a lot of pressings of vinyl records, like The Wall by Pink Floyd was banned in South Africa by the apartheid government.
Why?
Because it's got counterculture messages in it and stuff like that that the apartheid dictatorship didn't like, and so they decide, okay, well, we don't want any of our citizens to hear this. And you know how much those pressings are worth now? I'm like, flipping hell, they're
Really?
like off the charts.
Off the charts.
Yeah,
bro.
because they were banned. I'm like, okay, that just makes them more popular.
So maybe we should get our podcast banned.
I think so.
Great. Who's gonna swear first like a pirate?
I'm not going to swear. I've got a lot of other things. Say a lot of things that don't involve swearing.
That's true.
That YouTube will not like, but we're not going to go there.
No, good.
We like our podcast.
So this has been a slightly longer intro, but I like that. No, it's good.
It's our podcast. We can do what we
Thank
like.
you, Bruce. I like where you went with that. I wanted to talk about my brother. And it's got no way linked with what we just said, but I just want to talk about my brother.
Awesome.
Because it's going a whole nother direction.
Your brother has an interesting story.
But we kind of do know where this was going to go. It just took a bit longer. So, my brother, I'm not going to share like all about him, but why I'm bringing it up is this point. When he was born 99.8% deaf. I don't know where they got the other percentage, but it was roughly, he was pretty much deaf.
Jeepers.
Completely. And the reason behind that was someone at the, I think it was at the school where my mum was involved. Anyways, where my mum was, wherever she was, I'm sorry, I don't remember. It was like years ago. But somebody around her, the mother was had German measles.
Okay.
And then that got passed on to my mum when she was pregnant.
Oh, jeez.
And because of the German measles, my brother was born deaf.
Damn.
Yeah, it passes on like that.
I don't know if you ever told me that aspect of it. I knew
I
your brother's deaf. Obviously, I've met him, but
so that originated from someone coming to, I think it was either work or to a school. I don't know exactly where it came from, but my mum was around her, and the woman wasn't supposed to be there because she had German measles, but she just came anyways, selfishly.
damn her eyes.
Why?
Is that a little strong?
Why her eyes?
Maybe her ears, because maybe just damn her in general for being so selfish and walking around.
Look,
with
my
German measles.
mum, she said that it took her a long time not to be angry against that woman, like years.
Jeez, that must have been huge.
She was so angry with this woman because if she had actually just taken the time not to if she had taken the time to go stay at home, and because you're sick with German measles, not with the flu.
Yeah.
German measles is a
German
bastard
measles.
disease.
Yeah.
So if she had actually just stopped to think and not be selfish and stayed at home,
Yeah.
it would have been a different story. So yeah, it took my mum a long time. And she's in her 70s now, and she said it took her a very long time.
Did your mom ever get any sort of like closure with this woman for.
I don't think so. I think she was just so angry, and she. No, my mum isn't into confrontation.
Okay.
That's just not who she is. But I know that that she had wanted to, and then it didn't go that far.
Sure.
But it took her a very long time, like into her adult, further as she was older.
Yes. Okay.
I think she has dealt with it,
Okay.
but it was big. It just makes me think, so. But if that hadn't happened, then I wouldn't have my brother in this form. Now, look, it's a whole rabbit hole that I don't really want to go down with this.
Yeah.
But anyways, the point being, I love my brother. He's gone through so much. He actually got hearing aids, and this was about this Tuesday. The 16th of March, he turns 40.
What?
So 40, yeah, he's turning 40.
I was going to ask you how old he is now.
Yeah, 40.
Jeepers.
So, the big 40. So I mean, so now we're looking like 35, 40 years ago. And he actually had some of the first. No, actually, I don't actually know if it was the first. Anyways, he had hearing aids, not the like round the ear ones, which we know about now. They're like really incredible technology. This was like almost like a mic, like the old Walkman, decks kind of thing.
Yeah.
No, actually, a better explanation. When you've got sound running, for wireless microphone.
Yes.
And you have that little thing on your belt.
Yes.
Cool. That's what the receiver looked like. And then you would jack in the actual earphone. They're like little earpieces that would then run from the pack all the way
to his ears, yeah.
with wires and everything.
Oh, okay.
And that was the first time where he kind of got hearing aids, so to speak. And there was a lady there called Mary, which we called Auntie Mary, and she was his speech therapist. And there was an option of Nathan going to a deaf school, where you're learning
sign language.
Sign language, thank you very much. Or he had the opportunity, or to work with Auntie Mary to learn how to lip read, which was harder to do.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And my mum chose to go towards, the lip reading. Flash forward to where we are now. Dude, I mean, he did like really well at school. Right now he's IT, but doing a whole bunch of other stuff. A programmer. Mm-hmm. My point is, he's doing really, really well. Look, he's gone through a lot of crap, a lot of hard stuff. People treating him differently. Yeah. Because he's wearing hearing aids. But he's an epic brother. I love him to bits. He looks after me hugely, and vice versa, I would hope. So he's getting a thing called a cochlear implant. He's already had one of them done already. Sorry, my laptop's freezing. He's already had one done about a year ago.
All right.
And it's fascinating. Exactly what it is. So it is called cochlear implant surgery, and this is super fascinating. Okay, so bear in mind he's like 90. He's basically deaf, without the headphones, the hearing aid.
Yeah, there's nothing there.
There's nothing there.
Right.
And recently, like about a year and a half ago, he found out that part of hearing is going as well. So even with hearing aids, he's not. It'll get to a point where they won't even work. So he's completely gone. Jeez. So the only options were one, to let that happen, which obviously
you don't want to do that.
He doesn't want to go there, obviously for him, or to get this operation done.
So is this a step ahead, higher than a cochlear implant, or is this another cochlear implant on the other ear?
This is Still a cochlear implant.
Okay.
So a year ago, he had the first ear done.
Yes.
So, and it's a few $100,000.
I remember you telling me
to
that
get
it
something
was
like
that
this
it's
done.
a
It is
huge
not
amount.
cheap.
Yeah.
And it's because it's just incredible what we as humans have gotten to a point that we're doing this kind of thing.
Yeah.
So his medical aid paid a portion of it.
Yeah.
But then he would save up. I mean, it was a few $100,000. It's crazy. I mean, the unit itself is a few hundred.
Yeah.
And then the actual operation is on top of that.
Yes.
So he couldn't, to get them done at once would have been over $500,000. It's insane. And we say, why so much? Well, it's incredible what people have done. So a cochlear implant, I'm just going to give a definition and so forth. It's a small, so a cochlear implant, which is a small electronic device. It may be an option when hearing aids do not provide the clarity. Obviously, that's what I was speaking about. What it is, it's a small electronic device that electrically stimulates the cochlear nerve, which is the nerve for hearing. And the implant has external and internal parts. The external part sits behind the ear. Okay, one of the versions comes where it's basically like a very small round plate kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which attaches to the side of your head.
I've seen it. There was a guy at the one church that I was attending, and he had that on the side of his head, just behind his right ear.
That's correct.
All right.
And it can either be attached to a reasonably small hearing aid, or the one that my brother is getting. It just sits by itself, and it's almost like a magnetic thing.
Yes, on the thing that you sent me, it sits magnetically. It connects magnetically to what is sitting under the skin.
Correct.
Which is the next unit,
which is crazy.
And it picks up the external sound, sends it through the skin.
Correct.
To the internal implant.
Correct.
Which then sends it down through the wiring into the cochlea.
Exactly.
And does it bypass the hairs of the.
Yes, because
the hairs are in the cochlea, right?
Just before So I don't want to say anything wrong, so I will read it.
Okay.
So when you're deaf, those little hairs
they vibrate and they
are damaged when you're deaf.
Yes.
So for us, those hairs which actually control a lot of your hearing.
Yes.
Normally healthy ones, yes. The sound goes through and then it works itself through those little hairs, runs through it, and we hear properly.
That's it, yeah.
With someone who is deaf, a lot of those hairs are damaged or dead.
Yeah, that's what, and that for a normal person, when you've been to a rock concert, that's what causes tinnitus or tinnitus.
Nice, bro.
Because of that ringing, is those hairs that are damaged. They're sending
That's impressive.
They're sending a garbled signal through.
Yeah.
Because they're not damaged enough to not do anything.
Exactly.
But they're just damaged enough to send that ringing through into your head.
Yeah. So this cochlear implant with the wiring actually, how it does is it takes what the damaged or dead hairs would be, and it basically acts as if they were the hairs.
Right.
And then it runs it through. So the external part sits behind the ear, okay, which is what we just said. It picks up sounds with the microphone. It then processes the sound and transmits it to the internal part of the implant. Okay, the internal part is placed under the skin behind the ear. A thin wire and small electrodes leads to the cochlea, which is part of the inner ear. The wire sends signals to the cochlear nerve, which sends sound information to the brain to produce a hearing sensation. Although normal hearing is not restored, but with appropriate therapy and practice, the improved hearing experience can mean an increased awareness of sounds in the environment, as well as better communication through easier lip reading and listening.
Amazing.
When he got his first one,
it
was huge. He said when he was in his car, and his indicator was on. It's the first time that he heard the tick tock
of the indicator.
for years. He'd never heard that before.
All over the sort of ambient sound of
Yes,
like
everything
maybe
going on.
If he was driving with his window open
Yes.
or stuff like that, or maybe with the radio on,
He heard
he can
things,
even hear the
especially in the upper.
the sort of the treble
Yes.
frequencies.
Was a lot more profound than what he was used to.
So yeah, because doesn't deafness start with losing the treble frequencies, and then
I
think,
don't know.
I think it would probably, if you were, those were maybe the frequencies you start losing. But I'm no expert, so I'm not.
No, I think it's a fascinating point.
Because treble frequencies cut through everything a lot higher than lower.
Yes, that's right.
Than lower frequencies. So I think if anything was to go first, it might be those.
Yeah, the one thing that
higher ones and starting to get a little muffled.
it's a high possibility.
Yeah, but like I said, I'm no expert. So
But it sounds pretty good.
I'm theorizing.
Theorizing, that's what. Yeah, when he got so he said the one thing that he lost though was the more. It's interesting. He lost more of the lower tones in music, and he used to listen to a lot of music, and when he had to deal with the loss of the more bass elements in the music. So and he loved his music. So when he got the first implant, he struggled because he stopped listening to music for a while because it had lost the same effect that he had, and he can't get that back. So it was more treble and less bass.
Wow. So he lost that. It lost the fullness of the bass. It boosted more the trebles, probably even the mid range.
So exactly. So the effect on his music was big.
Yeah, I can imagine, because if
he used to love his music. So yeah, especially with you, for example.
Because if I'm listening to music and there is not enough low end, it really bothers me.
Low end that's exactly what it is.
That's it. Yeah, it's like if I'm on my car or whatever, you want to hear that. The fullness of the bass drum, bass guitars, all of that, just that low end instead of all the mids.
Exactly.
You want to have that balance between all three.
So he struggled with that. Even watching movies. He also used to love watching movies.
Yeah, because of that big bass.
The bass, and everything going on. And even, he has a subwoofer as well, with his sound system, which is very cool. So yes, he would feel it, but he doesn't experience that surrounds impact that he normally had.
Yeah.
So he would. So there were good and bad things about it.
Okay.
Sorry, dude. My laptop it's being absolutely spastic. So I'll just kind of keeping my mind what I want to talk about more. I don't know if you've got thoughts the way that we're going yet. Or questions or.
I don't. I suppose the closest I've come to experiencing, someone with having hearing issues is now that my mom is 74, 75 years old, and she's gotten hearing aids. Okay. But even those, she's got almost like what you would call now normal hearing aids, but they're tiny. And they sit
my mom
directly,
has one of them as well.
They sit directly inside her ear.
Inside her ear.
Yeah, they don't hook over. They're small enough to sit in her ear.
Okay, I haven't seen those.
Like they're tiny. And she has to change out the batteries though, unfortunately.
Okay.
But it's quite interesting because my aunt has just gotten them and she's got rechargeable ones. She puts them into a unit like you would Bluetooth Bluetooth headphones, and they charge. Which is like the next level.
My mum has those as well, but they're very little ones, which sit behind the ear, but not in. Okay,
no, my mum's are internal.
Okay.
And she can control everything. She can get if she wants to. She can get an app from on her phone.
My mum has that.
And control. It's like what?
It's like when I phone my mum.
Yes.
It picks up on her hearing aid, and she can listen. Like for example, she can speak to me without the phone, as in it picks up her voice and me calling her. And if she wants to, for example, she's watching a thing, on YouTube, it'll pick up on her hearing aid first.
That's insane.
That's also technology, dude. It's just huge.
Yeah.
So I wanted to bring up onto. Okay, we're doing a little bit of time. So let me tell you what happens during the cochlear implant surgery. In fact, I want to tell you what my brother told me. First off, I was like, "You."
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just wanting to get. Apologize, people. The laptop that I always use to run things is having a spastic moment. I don't know why. So my brother, he told me, what they basically do, and it was like, here's what he said to me. It's crazy what they do. Anyone squeamish? Unlucky. I'm just wanting you to know. They lift the skin off your head. They grind down the area on your skull to put the implant in. They drill the bone, and they put the whole wiring and everything through the hole into your cochlea. And he writes, "Yeah, it's not a minor thing," and that is true. That ain't minor.
Okay, so this is the other question. Did
Yep.
they put him under complete anesthetic?
Oh,
or was
for
he awake?
sure.
Okay, I'm
No,
just
no,
checking
no.
because
No, he gets zonked out completely.
okay,
No, he doesn't. He doesn't have to be awake.
okay, yeah,
For
that
that.
I would
No,
I
dude.
would want to be.
You're awake with your skin cut.
Yeah.
So the surgery lasts 2 to 4 hours, and they are given, yes, a general anesthesia. That is correct. So this is the more technical. The surgeon makes a cut behind the ear and then opens the mastoid bone. I like that bone. It's my favorite bone of the body. Okay, I'm sorry, that sounded wrong. I don't know what the mastoid bone is. It's obviously around your ear. I'm not a doctor.
I sincerely hope so.
Yeah, true, otherwise I'll really go in the wrong direction. Like, are you a doctor? That's not the mastoid bone. Okay. Anyways, the surgeon identifies the facial nerves. Dude, because if they make a mistake, your facial nerves can go...
Yeah. And,
No, really.
Yeah.
They can make a mistake and mess up your facial nerves.
Yeah.
That's serious. So they identify the facial nerves and create an opening between them to access the cochlea, which is then opened. They insert the implant electrodes into the cochlea. The surgeon places an electronic device called the receiver under the skin behind the ear, securing it to the skull in this area. So that's how the little receiver can stay attached to the person's ear,
to the
head.
Okay. Yeah.
The incisions are then closed, and then they move the patient into the recovery area, and they're watched closely. Then they are discharged after at least 2 hours of observation. My brother had to stay overnight because it just totally freaks him out.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if I said it just now. No, I don't think I said it. I said it to you.
Mm.
He said to me that if not the first, it's the close second worst thing to ever happen to him.
Crazy. Yeah?
He says it just wipes you out, like for a few days. And I said to him, how long does it take to become manageable? He says a week with a bandage, then another week before I feel normish, he says, then another 2 or 3 weeks before it can be activated. So it doesn't just get switched on.
Jeepers.
It has to sit in there for a while for the wiring and everything to...
So the body's got to kind of get used to it.
Yes.
It's this foreign,
Dude,
foreign object.
it's this foreign thing in your... Yeah.
And isn't there the possibility that the body's going to reject it?
I think
Or
so.
not really? Because I know that happens with...
I guess it's possible with any kind of surgery.
But maybe isn't that a little bit more possible with organ stuff or
Yes, organ
electronic things like a pacemaker on your heart or something like that, rather
I think
than...
there's... yes.
But maybe if something's just attached to your skull, there's probably less chance.
Yeah.
Of
Well, with the first ear that was done, the surgery wasn't done properly. They made an error.
Oh.
Where they didn't put the wiring into the exact point it was meant to go.
Wow.
And you can't do a do-over. So it wasn't a big thing, but they didn't do it to the finest degree that you have to do it with this kind of thing.
Word.
So he sits with a little bit of an issue. No, not a big one.
Okay.
But it just shows look, he's like super stressed about it, which obviously makes sense. I mean, you're going in there. But he chose, he chose to do that again because he says it's either that or his other ear is just going to be completely gone.
Yeah.
So it's a risk, but he said he'd rather do that than.
So
anyways, that's. I don't know what you feel about that. That's kind of how I feel. Is a good place to bring it down. But yes, please carry on.
So is he? So since he had the last cochlear implant,
yeah.
Has he pretty much only been hearing through one ear?
No, he has a hearing aid on the other ear still.
Okay, so he's kind of had a bit of a balance.
It's reasonable balance, but not a perfect balance. Yeah.
Okay, so this
is going to change a lot for him.
So then basically they're just putting a cochlear implant on the other side.
Correct.
So he's going to
hear a lot. So I think it's going to be freaky for him for a while.
Yeah,
like I'm going to have to stay over at his house for a few nights, just for him to feel like he's okay. Because look, dude, you're coming from a clarity of a one ear to your hearing aid, which is not muffled, but it's not to the extent of a cochlear implant. Bringing in the other one. So imagine you had like a more of a dull kind of hearing in your one ear, and your right ear is okay. My left ear is dull.
Yes.
My right ear I can hear properly.
Yes.
To a point now, a year later, all of a sudden your left ear is clarity.
Yeah.
It's got to be crazy.
Your psyche and your brain has adapted to that, and now it's going to change it up. So
that's why it's weird for a while.
It's probably going to affect his balance.
So
as well.
They say that that the person will. So I mean, he needs to go for several visits over a few days for it to be adjusted.
Yes.
And they can. I really can't tell you how they do it, but they can adjust the whole setting in your ear. I think that there's seriously, I believe that there's some form of an app or something which
I would be surprised.
Which the audiologist has that can play with the balance of what's happening in your cochlea. It can play with the balance that you, dude. I just find it fascinating what people can do.
And then they can probably also play with literally the EQ, trebles,
I
bass,
think to a level,
mids, yeah.
But it's set. But the implant though is for him what he's had. It comes with a more. It's just how it's made.
Yeah.
That they are more treble than.
Okay.
So you lose a bit of the bass level, and that can't be changed.
Something he's going to have to deal with.
Exactly. And then they say that, what he said too is that further fine-tuning takes place over a few months.
Yeah.
So he's not going to have everything running for the first month.
Yeah.
Because as we say, the body, come on, dude, they've just had
it.
things happen to him. It takes a while to get used to it. It's fascinating.
Amazing. Incredible, then.
That's just so, what we've grown to do as humans is... like we're mini gods. Not really. Maybe that's a bit too powerful to say. I'm not saying gods because there's only one God that I believe in. Anyone can believe anything they want to do. That's cool. My point is not... my point...
Thanks for that caveat.
Thank you. The what?
Caveat.
Isn't that fish eggs?
That's caviar.
Oh, okay, cool. Nice to know. What does that mean? I'm learning new words.
Hold on a sec.
So use the
I know I can...
Tell us, Bruce.
I can use the word caveat
I'm
in context,
impressed.
but I can't remember.
You can't give me a full explanation.
Hold on.
Okay, so Bruce is just thinking. He's not looking on Google.
It is a warning or proviso of specific situations, conditions, or limitations.
Okay. Where does God fit into that?
I don't know. God doesn't fit into anything.
You're right.
You try making a box for God to fit into. I'd like to see that.
Boom yakasha.
Then again, yes, human beings are amazing.
Yeah.
I still see enough stupidity in the world to make me wonder why we still deserve to be top of the food chain. But that's for another podcast.
Well, actually, we addressed that in one of our previous ones about people doing stupid things.
That's also true.
Where you said it.
But I think we just touched on the tip of the iceberg. I think there is so much more stupidity to discuss. We could do that.
Actually, I heard a joke about icebergs. When somebody ran out of toilet paper, due to obviously people hoarding
toilet paper. Yes.
They used an iceberg lettuce, and they said it only used the tip of the iceberg.
Jeez.
I thought it was funny. Okay. Must have been cold though. On that note.
And on that note.
Get out of here, people. It's been fascinating as always. I just good to bring in my brother. I love him to the bits.
Cool.
I'm going to be spending a few nights with him soon. He has the operation on the 24th of March.
Cool.
And he's staying overnight. I'm looking after his dog.
Okay.
It's a Great Dane.
Wow.
Called Rufus.
Wow.
It's a fascinating dog. He's a softie, but when he comes up to you, when you're sitting down and the dog comes up to you, to say hello, his big mug. That's a big head.
Yes.
For any dog. Like in front of you going, oh. I'm like, hey, buddy. Yeah, so I'm going to be looking after Rufus.
Nice.
And then my brother, and then I'm going to stay over for a few nights just to make sure that he's doing okay.
Cool.
And,
awesome.
And then, ordering in food and, lying on the couch and watching Netflix.
Generally just hanging out with your brother.
Exactly, which is pretty awesome.
But
he said to me, I
can think of worse ways too.
Exactly. He said to me he will probably be irritated, but he says, don't take it personally.
Yeah.
So I won't. Yeah.
Awesome. This has been the Spaghetti Junction podcast.
It has been, Bruce.
It's been awesome.
And my name is Bruce.
And my name is Gareth.
Thank you. And good night. Well, as was said in the Truman Show, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and if I don't see you, good night.